Good evening. I am Jubair Ahmed, Coordinator South Asian Young Politician Forum. Thank you so much for being here. Tonight, I will also be joined by Mr. Tabith Awal, graduate from George Washington University, Mayoral candidate Dhaka North City Corporation, and National Executive Member of Bangladesh Nationalist Party, Bangladesh. Mr. Mayor Wang, Democratic activist, elected Member of Parliament and leader of NLD, Myanmar, former CASIF Fellow, Germany. Mr. Milinda Rajapakse, Director General of Media Center for National Development, Ministry of Mass Media, Sri Lanka, and former spokesperson to Mr. Gotabaya Rajapakse, former Honorable Prime Minister of Sri Lanka. Mr. Muhammad Arif Rind, law graduate from Baluchistan University, Senior Vice President and former General Secretary Insaf Youth Wing, Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf. Mr. Amrish Rajan Pandey, law graduate from the University of Delhi, General Secretary and National Youth Congress, India, lawyer, Supreme Court of Delhi, and former legislative fellow at U.S. Department of State. Ms. Sushi Vishwas, National Spokesperson of Indian Youth Congress. The resurgence of Taliban in Afghanistan is the center of discussion throughout the world. Afghanistan is very important in geopolitics. The Taliban's back in power has created enormous political tension and regional instability around the world, especially for neighborhood countries like India, Pakistan, China, Turkmenistan, Iran, Russia, etc. The neighborhood countries are very much concerned about their security and regional instability. Say, for example, India is very concerned about its 3 billion marking US dollar investment in Afghanistan, the Taliban's interference in Kashmir issue, and regional politics. Pakistan is very concerned and worried about the possibility of huge refugee influx in Pakistan, their Balochistan security concern, the Belt and Road Initiative with China. China is very concerned about the East Turkestan Islamic movement who are connected with Uyghur Muslim and their Road and Belt Initiative project. They would like to connect with Central Asia through Afghanistan. So they would like to make it a very easier way so that they can connect with Central Asia. Iran is concerned about its Hazara community who are Shia Muslim who were persecuted severely in the earlier Taliban regime in Afghanistan. Turkmenistan, Tajikistan, Kazakhstan are very concerned about terrorist attack in their own countries. So all the things are happening, and all neighborhood countries, the Asian and South Asian countries are very concerned and worried about their coming days. The thing is that Pakistan and India, it seems like that Afghanistan has become a ground for proxy or there. So all those things are happening there. Today, our honorable speakers they will clarify, they will provide us more information regarding the topic and their resurgence in our the region and the political tension that might be happened and also happening and their acknowledgement diplomacy that is going on the recent times. So at first, I would like to invite Mr. Mai Wang from Myanmar. He is a democratic activist and elected member of parliament. Hi, Jung. How are you?
Hi. So should I start?
John, is it okay?
Yeah, it's okay. Thank you very
Yeah.
much. Thank you very much for your invitation.
Yeah, Joe, just I would like to provide you some link or some uh, text that is easy for you to clarify the topic and the things, because we know that Chinese diplomacy on geopolitics and geostrategy centering on surrounding Afghanistan. India is also facing geopolitical difficulties, including Afghan policy. So all these things become very difficult, and it also became a proxy or ground of Afghanistan for Pakistan and India. Please.
Yeah. Uh, Good evening, everyone, and nice to meet you all. It is a great honor that I have a chance to speak in this conference. I believe it is a good opportunity to share our concerns and thoughts over the possible impact of superpower international policies on our domestic politics and daily lives, directly or indirectly. I would agree that individual countries needs to be careful not to be battlefield of great power rivalry and to be able to maintain regional peace and stability. So China's policy is crystal clear. It will try to maintain or strengthen its influence over the countries they have most national interest in. That's the reason why it showed its immediate cooperation with the new Afghan government. It used new strategy by saying construction and development. Although Chinese scholars said that sudden withdrawal of American forces from Afghanistan is not good news for China. It is an opportunity for China to gain influence in the region. So I would say that it is the same strategy that applied on Myanmar too. As many of you know, we have a military coup since February. China, as always, supports military government and fastened its time to protect Chinese properties in our country. On the other hand, recently it started to communicate with major political parties to have a good relationship with the opposition and the people. Myanmar people are uprising against military coup, just as non-violence street protests. Then, after violence crackdown, people started receiving training for struggle. The elected people's representative founded a new government called National Unity Government. The NUG government founded a new military called People's Defense Force, so that the new soldiers would not turn into extremists. I believe China is seeing us, and finally, it will sit on the winning side. The resurgence of Taliban is an encouragement for many extremist groups all over the world. Many small and big groups inspired by the rise of and success of the Taliban, even in Philippines, Pakistan, India, also in Myanmar and in western border of China. At this point, I would like to learn more on how Taliban government were trying to gain international recognition, where they prove that their government is a trustworthy, they respect international law and want regional peace and stability, or where they cooperate with their former networks and support their military missions. This uncertainty leads us to a big question marks for regional politics. I finally like to discuss about the possible futures of superpower and their alliance. The rapid growth of Taliban and sudden withdrawal of US is not a good news for many nations. The country is left chaotic and many humanitarian assistance are needed. Russia is claiming that Western countries should reopen embassies in Kabul and engage with Taliban government. China is advocating for US assistance to Afghanistan. The balance of global world order will be shifted a little bit, since Afghanistan should become China's and Pakistan's strong ally, while Western democracies are at the stage of wait and see. So present situation in Afghanistan and sudden political change is a total headache for many governments. To ensure regional stability, all governments have to cooperate on stability of Afghanistan. That is what I want to discuss for now, and thank you very much for your invitation and for your kind intention.
Yes, Mayo, thank you so much. Mayo, do you think that is it possible for Taliban to disrupt the regional instability or any they can handicap or barrier any kind of connectivity between the Asian and South Asian countries? Do you think that can they disrupt?
Yeah, actually, I'd like to also know about their actions. I've been watching closely their government too. So they used to help the some militant groups previously. So when they gain the power, I'm not so sure they will continue supporting those militia groups or they will stop and acting as the government. So if they are assisting the militant groups in different countries, so they will harm or threaten the regional stabilities, I believe. But they also want the international recognition, I think. So I'm not so sure how they will react right now. But now they are trying to gain the support of the Russia and the China. So the China will also try to maintain the international regional peace.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Joe, for
Thank
your
you.
brilliant speech in the first session. Now, I'd like to invite Mr. Arif Rind. Mr. Arif Rind, hello, Rind. Do you hear me? Hello, Mr. Arif. Okay, but there might be internet disturbance, so I cannot connect with him right now. Mr. Arif from Pakistan. Uh, Now, I would like to invite Mr. Tabith Awal from Bangladesh.
Good evening to all. I'm extremely honored to be a part of this discussion on the Taliban resurgence and what it means for our regional and global stability or instability. At the same time,
Yes,
I'm honored to.
yes, you will deliver your speech, but I would like to just provide you some clues here. That how do you evaluate their revival of Taliban in Afghanistan and its impact in regional politics actually? And do you think political settlement is essential for regional stability?
Yes, thank you, and thank you to the rest of the participants in this discussion today. So, first of all, we have to define what we mean by resurgence of the Taliban or the coming back to power by the Taliban. One thing is for certain: the Taliban are probably the same, the group that took over Afghanistan in 1996, but Afghanistan is different. Afghanistan's people, Afghanistan's population, Afghanistan's tribal as well as linguistic diversity is very different than what it was 20 years ago. So, can the Taliban act, behave, rule in the same way? Probably not. So, that is something important that we need to understand and we need to accept. Second of all, the coming back to power part, what does that prove actually? So, as we know that in many countries in Central Asia, South Asia, and even Southeast Asia, there is a big discourse where the majority of the population feels that the current people in government do not represent them. There are allegations of election fraud, there are allegations of dictatorship in various forms and ways in different countries. So, what is that shown in Afghanistan? It is shown that even in a forced democratic manner. Any sort of forced government, even if it's through a process, cannot be sustainable without autonomous or semi-autonomous institutions. And in Afghanistan,
but Taliban define it as a military victory.
that's fine. I mean, I'm coming to that. So, because in 20 years in Afghanistan, we did not see any institutions rise on its own. The minute Taliban had a military victory, as they say, the country collapsed. The governance system collapsed. The institution systems collapsed. So that's why I have always emphasized that in any governance system, creating semi-autonomous and autonomous institutions is very important for democracy to continue, for people's representation to be sustainable. Which the coming back of Taliban, I think, proves my point that without institutions, any group can have a military victory in any country at any time, and that has come to the forefront. Now, regarding instability or regional instability, I think it's too early to analyze, because if you first look at what Taliban is doing, Taliban is simply using the Islamic marketing or facade to kind of enforce some of their ideologies on their own people, as well as keeping international people at bay. Now, if Taliban really believes in an Islamic Sharia-compliant nation, then they obviously cannot deal with the international partners such as China, Russia, in non-Islamic financial manners. There's Islamic banking, there's Islamic financial laws, Sharia-compliant, which are in place. However, it does not seem like Taliban are very compliant when it comes to international finances. So already we can see that this whole Sharia compliance is used more as a facade and to oppress their own people in certain areas. Second of all, I believe that they are quite smart this time around, and they believe that the international community is very much engaged in human rights, democratic rights, and fundamentals of press freedom. And the Taliban may probably use that oppression to negotiate a better position for themselves in the near future. They might say, look, we will be less oppressive if the international community comes forward and helps us out in one or two areas. So hence I'm saying these are strategies which we have to kind of be cautious of, and we have to kind of wait and see what is going on. Now, regarding instability.
But the thing is that in this last 20 years, a group of people or a generation, they have become accustomed to lead their life in a different way. But how is it possible to accommodate this new Sharia law or these new types of things that are happening in the right time there? Is it possible for them to accommodate all this changing situation? Or
Not at all.
they're not introducing any democracy there? So how is it possible for the new generation, the other people, to work with them?
Well, here they have become very divisive. If you see that they're already dividing the nation in gender, they are being extremely free and progressive towards the male gender, whereas they're being extremely oppressive towards the female gender. Here they're catering to the majority of the tribal population, which are mainly, as we know, the Pashtuns and another group called the Haqqanis. But Afghanistan, we cannot forget, are made of many different tribes, ethnic backgrounds and languages. So it's not a question just of being oppressed by some regime. It's also a question of being governed by people who are clearly not your people, people who clearly don't want to understand who you are. So I believe Afghanistan has already its own instability to take care of. And in Afghanistan's own instability, I really don't think so they're going to play the role they played in 1996, where they exported, let's say, terrorism or even drugs, or use their land for cross-border smuggling trade. What we are seeing now is that they're becoming quite capitalist, and I believe that if the countries remain engaged, as you had mentioned in your introduction, India has $3 billion to remain engaged about. United States has trillions of dollars to be engaged about. Recently, we see Qatar and Turkey trying to make some headways in their infrastructure. If we remain engaged, I believe Afghanistan's instability will not spill out across the region if we remain engaged. But if we do not remain engaged, then clearly they will basically go for the best possible financial option and do whatever it takes. I'll stop here for now, and maybe later on in the discussions I can add a few more points. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Welcome, Miss Shuse. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, you need to introduce Ms. Shuse is the national spokesperson of Indian Youth Congress. Shuse, you're most welcome here. Shuse, you know about our title, the resurgence of Taliban and their impact in regional politics. First of all, I would like to ask a question to you that do you think the Afghanistan is the ground for Pakistan and India proxy war? Do you think?
Yeah, thank you, Zubair ji, for inviting me. And my humble greetings to all my fellow panelists. I'm Suchi Vishwas from India, National Spokesperson, Indian Youth Congress. And I'm privileged and honored to be a part of your dignified panel and this prestigious time to talk to you. So I'm thankful and I'm honored. Then for your question, Zubair, what I believe, the kind of situation we all, through TV, through media, through journalists, the kind of videos we are getting, memes we are getting, it's really, it's the worst nightmare I have ever seen. The man who was talking just before me, he explained everything so well. So I don't want to specify anything again technically, but my heart really starts to bleed when I think about those civilians, people, those who are living there, those the lists which those Taliban are carrying with them, to whom they kill, the kind of statements the people are flowing that women are for reproduction only, or no music is there, no musical instruments are there. So I can't comment. I'm not competent enough to comment about Islam or Sharia or the ideology, what they believe in. But I believe like peace and harmony, compassion, the very basic ingredient of everybody's life. This beautiful planet, this beautiful world, and this beautiful system which we belong to. So all of us are human beings. And it is our foremost responsibility. It doesn't matter which religion we belong to. But being human, it's our basic responsibility to give love to each other, to care for each other, to care for climate, to care for people, to care for children. And when whole world is talking about human rights, child rights, peace and harmony, various national and international organizations are continuously talking. In this kind of scenario, suddenly this rise of Taliban and the kind of incidents happening all around, I'm not very much comfortable over discussing all those things because it makes me feel frightened. I'm really astonished and surprised. And again, I'm saying my heart starts to bleed when I'm watching those videos. Yeah, I'm going through those memes, the kind of people having AK-47 guns and the kind that aeroplane video. The moment those civilians are running here and there, people are pleading for mercy, refugees are moving here and there. So the kind of tension those civilians and those people are facing there, and why no any developed country is interrupting, not saying anything. So what exactly the kind of world we are living into? I don't think, being a very genuine person, being a lady, being an Indian, I believe that justice should be done. I believe in democratic values. I believe in human values. I believe in basic virtues. I believe in universal laws. I believe in cosmic laws. And I believe in humanity. So definitely the kind of situation.
Do you think the people of Afghanistan are severely suffering of the lack of humanity and lack of democracy? You don't know all the things that is you have heard from media but might not be true. There might be any other explanation too. So how do you come in a conclusion that they have violated all those humanity, all those democratic values, all those things? But the people of this country, they have accepted them. This is the point.
Whether they have accepted them or they are forced to accept, how I or you can explain it. What I feel it is something which is imposed on them, because the kind of statements, is this the idea to run a democratic setup? The kind of policy they are creating, the kind of behavior they are doing, the kind of environment they are, it's absolutely called terror. It's absolutely called fear. So if they just want to plunder extract the minerals, they just want to make money, just want to rule the country with some guns and all. So like what happened with Israel and Hamas, what's happening with
Okay.
Balochistan and
Choosha,
Pakistan.
you are from India, so India has invested 3 billion US dollar there. But right now it seems that India is in a drawback situation in Afghanistan and the regional politics. Do you think India should connect with them to work with them for regional stability? Do you think?
Thank you. India is basically full of love and compassion. We Indians are made up of what should I say? We really love our neighboring countries. So you're talking about 3 billion, the kind of investments. I'm not any political ambassador or that kind of decisive person, so I can't comment in a single line. But what exactly Indians are worried about, I'm telling you. Every third, fourth, fifth person is talking about this Taliban crisis and the kind of nightmare those civilians and normal people, especially women, kids, children, and ladies, are facing there. So we are concerned about their safety, their well-being, their democratic setup, and rest like investments
Yes,
and
you are
interpersonal
talking
relationships.
you are talking in a portion that the freedom of the speech, freedom of the women and their education and their right to go. It's the another thing, but I'm talking about the regional politics. In the competition of this politics, Pakistan is in a good position. China is also a good position, but the thing is that India has a good relationship with Mr. Ghani government for long 20 years, and for long 20 years, India is doing better in Afghanistan. They have invested a lot of money there. They have supported. They have assistant in education, health sector, and other sectors too. But thing is that suddenly they have disconnected from Afghanistan. In this situation, is it possible for India to reconnect with Afghan government or to work with them? Otherwise, is it possible for India to lead this region except Afghanistan?
Okay, India and Indians are with the people of Afghanistan. The kind of situation Afghanistan is facing, this terror, this fear, this terrorism, this kind of imposed kind of things, and the kind of stuff which we are getting through media and all. And I think we should wait for some more time what exactly the situation is. So it's too early to
Okay.
comment over it.
Thank you
But
so much. Thank,
I don't think that any of the democratic setup is going on there. Personally, I don't think so.
okay. Uh, in the second session, I'll also ask some other question regarding this issue. So thank you so much for your brilliant idea that you have shared with us. Now I'd like
Thank you so
to
much.
give the floor of Mr. Arif from Pakistan. Mr. Arif, can you hear me? Do I audible to you? Yes, Mr. Arif Rind. How are you? Mr. Arif, it's not audible. I cannot hear you. So please, you should disconnect and join with us again. Otherwise, it seems very difficult for us. Okay, we have lost Mr. Arif for his disconnection, interest disturbance. Now I'd like to give the floor of Mio Jo Wang. Mio, can you hear me? Mr. Tabith, so can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
We have lost all our speakers there for interest disturbance. Mr. Awal, if the Afghanistan is becoming hub of regional competitors, and with competitors who are having with different competing interests, do you think there is ever going to be the real peace in Afghanistan?
I ask you a question first. Has there ever been real peace in Afghanistan? If we see the history of Afghanistan since
But they're
300
trying.
BC,
But they're
since
trying.
300, I'm saying that since 300 BC, Afghanistan has been invaded and conquered over and over again, starting with the Mauryan dynasty and all the way until we saw the invasion by some of the Western allies. The problem is that Afghanistan geopolitically is located in such a place that for decades and decades they've been invaded, they've been war and torn, and they've been kind of like a de facto war area. In that sense, people have accepted this is the way of life, which is a very unfortunate, but that's what they have done. Now, regarding peace in Afghanistan, listen, the peace or not peace actually now depends on the delivery of the present Taliban regime. We talked about Taliban's ways, their oppression, what rights they will give or not give. But the first right, the first three rights of any citizen in the world is food, clothing, and shelter. Now, we're already seeing media reports and social media reports that food crisis is imminent. So if the basic right to food is not available to anyone, then there's no peace at all in that country or in somebody's life or in somebody's house. If basic clothing and shelter is not available, then there's no peace there at all. So right now, we're not seeing any peace. Right now, we're seeing the opposite. But as we said, if the Taliban regime reaches out in a genuinely outlook, and if the international stakeholders believes them, then there can be a system of stability. In that stability, there will be parts of peaceful Afghanistan and there'll be parts of unpeaceful Afghanistan. But I think stability now is the demand of the day before we move into any other aspirations.
But the challenges you have mentioned for Taliban right now, the caretaker government of Taliban right now, is it possible for them to mitigate all those challenges in recent or in near future?
No, of course, of course. As you know, that Afghanistan is very different than what it was 20 years ago. Afghanistan today has over $10 billion in international reserves, which they never had before, which they can use for restructuring the country. Afghanistan already has ore mines, diamond mines, and some oil reserves that has been identified, which can be used now to again develop the nation. Afghanistan already has how can I say it? Interests from China, Russia, India, Iran, all neighboring countries, as well as the United States still remains wanting to be engaged. Qatar, Turkey, they never had these international outreaches before. So it's really up to the Taliban regime now how they want to accept those good gestures and take the country forward. Or they can just, as you said, and before, they can just be a military victory and be kind of like a military force living in the terrains for a bit much longer. But how much more they can depend on allowing their state to be a place of smuggling goods or opium production, I'm not too sure.
Yes, centering of these issues, we have seen that Pakistan, Chinese, and Russian nexus and their good communication regarding this issue. But here, India has been in far away. Do you think if India do not join in that nexus or not work with Taliban, is it a good sign for them or they will be loser?
No, India, I mean, India has many sides to India, right? So India, first of all, is a aspiring global country, global leader in the world. So in that aspiration in regional and global politics, India has to engage with Afghanistan because they cannot be left out of, kind of that economic foreplay. At the same time, India has invested heavily outside of Afghanistan, but for Afghanistan, which is the Charbahar port in southern Iran. That port is being developed by India with over 200 kilometers of highway that leads into Afghanistan from the Iranian side to the city of Herat. So, and then on to Central Asia. So definitely for India, it's an economic outpost, it's an economic interest, and they've done a lot to circumvent Pakistan, because Pakistan obviously is not allowing them land routes or air routes at this point. So there's no way India can stay, in the back benches, and India must, and I'm sure they will engage.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Anybody else joining in? Or we lost
So we have lost all our speakers because I don't know actually what happens in their internet system.
Okay.
But in Afghanistan, there is a huge anti-Pakistani sentiment among the people, especially the young generations, and they think Pakistan is the cause of their measures and resurgence of Taliban. How Pakistan will address all those allegations among the young generations? Can you have any idea about this?
Sure. I just want to start off that being young in Afghanistan, I think it's natural that already you're anti the present regime, anti-Taliban. And so clearly, whoever you think has supported the Taliban or has made it easy for the Taliban to come back to power, you're going to hesitate in accepting them or their activities. But for Pakistan especially, one is obviously the psychological warfare and how to win over the hearts and minds of the younger generation. But the other one is actually the extremist warfare, because extremism or extremist groups don't have territories, don't have land they belong to. They have ideologies, and that is a very, very hard group to kind of maintain, control, or even disseminate. At all. So what Pakistan, I believe, has to be more worried about is that the certain rogue extremists or extremists who blame also Pakistan for helping the US and the Western allies in keeping Taliban out of power for 20 years or so, or actually at one point invading Afghanistan. What happens to that sentiment? So I think Pakistan actually also has their own thoughts of handling terrorism, handling extremism, and it's such a porous border. And it's such a porous border that anybody can come in and out of Pakistan, probably undetected at this point. So if someone has any kind of ill thoughts or ideas or to go against the people of Pakistan, it would naturally be the Taliban right now, or as I said, the extremist groups of the Taliban.
Okay, well, in Afghanistan, our largest NGO, BRAC, is working there for last 20 years. We have some or 2 or 3 incidents there, but overall, all those things are going in a good manner. Do you have any idea or any observation about Bangladeshi policy? What should be actually for dealing with Taliban? Because this is the firm reality that they are in power.
I want to be very, very specific that Bangladesh's independence was based on the emancipation or individual freedom. So Bangladesh it carries that message to heart. We are 50 years celebrating our independence, yet every young generation who was born after the war still is very, very grateful to the Mukti Juddhas, as well as very proud of what we have achieved. So in that manner, our hearts and minds are reaching out to the people of Afghanistan. Now, the regime can come and go. Regime can be good or bad. But Bangladeshi government, Bangladeshi country, Bangladeshi citizens, NGOs like BRAC, we should be doing everything we can to work with the people of Afghanistan, irrespective of who's in power. It does not legitimize anyone. It does not help anybody. It helps humanity, and that's where Bangladesh, should put its place on the world. BRAC is also, contributed to Bangladesh after the War of Independence. So BRAC has a DNA of knowing what it's like to rebuild a country, what that is war torn, famine struck, and basically without any resources. Same thing as Afghanistan now, so BRAC, and we have many other NGOs which can actually go and help Afghanistan in its education, in health, in women's empowerment, in child safety, and those are the places where Bangladesh has done such a good job in moving up the ladder. As you know, even in South Asia, we talk very highly how we are better than India even in many social indicators. So we need to take that experience, that leadership, and offer it to the people of Afghanistan. And we have to work out a way where we can work with the people directly and not get entangled with any of Afghan's internal politics.
Okay, Mr. Awal, Tabith Awal, we have no speakers yet here, so I would like to close this session, and that I will check, or I will request you a closing comment or remarks about the whole scenario that happened after 15th of August or till now.
So 15th of August, the change in Afghanistan has definitely made the world extremely cautious and uncertain. And as you know, that this is playing out there's many polarizations in the world as well, not just in Afghanistan, but in and around Asia as well. So we need to see a global picture here. And in this global picture, many countries must make sure that they don't get dragged in to either polarized sides. It's very easy to get lured in through financial or some other capital. But I believe that if everybody sees the global picture, and if everybody's intent is actually keeping their country safe, their citizens happy, and delivering the services they require, then we can hold on to some stability. But if we don't see the global picture, that either Afghanistan's instability will spill over, or the global instability will fall into Afghanistan as well. So unfortunately, all I can say is,
okay, do you think Bangladesh, India, Pakistan, China should arrange any dialogue, including Afghan present government?
I think Bangladesh, India, Pakistan are leaders of the SARC, and they should use the SARC forum where we can include Afghanistan and help maintain regional harmony, peace, and economic prosperity. Bringing in other countries who are outside the region doesn't always give us the benefit. It somehow gives benefits to other nations, which is rightfully so for them. But if Bangladesh wants to go ahead, Bangladesh has a forum. It is SARC, and SARC is the way forward. It is proved over and over again that without regional trade, regional connectivity, regional harmony, you cannot compete in the global environment.
Okay, do you think all those regional players and regional superpowers should make a confidence on this caretaker government?
No, I do not believe that. It's from Afghanistan, right? Let me just clarify.
Yes.
Yeah, I do not believe that any government that has been formed without the mandate of the people or without an inclusive mechanism should get any sort of legitimacy or support. They should be worked with, because we cannot disband something that's already in the structure, but they have to be brought to accountability. They have to be forced to be transparent, and they have to be made mandatable to their people eventually. But that's that's a compromise we cannot and should not make. It has not worked in the past. It will not work in the future.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your brilliant opinion here. Today, I would like to close this session. Thank you so much for everyone to join here. Good night.